So I adopted a cat for the day. Yes, not exactly the content you thought I'd be releasing on the channel, but there you go. So a couple of nights ago, me and my good friend Liam were outside testing my new camera on night shots. This is one of the pictures we caught of my bicycle. Really cool. It looks like it's going in bloody warp. But we were interrupted by the loudest meows I've ever heard. I honestly thought a lion had escaped from a zoo or something. But no, it was a Siamese cat. Now, if you know anything about Siamese cats, you know that they are quite rare. They're also very expensive. So this struck me as a little bit odd that this cat was just outside. Now, it circled both of us, rubbing up against our legs and being absolutely bloody adorable. And of course, I immediately fell in love. I love cats. As you guys know, I've got Bobo, I've got Effie. I love animals. I've always loved animals. Honestly, my favourite pets I've ever owned have been ferrets, and I absolutely adore ferrets. I don't know if anyone here has had ferrets, but yeah. So when I saw this cat, I was immediately in love. So what I did, I sat outside with it for about an hour, just paying attention to it, stroking it, and it ended up sitting on my lap. Now this is awfully rare. You don't generally find a wild cat outside who will just sit on your lap. What I did next was gave it some tuna and let it go on its way. Now I felt bad going back inside because honestly, you see a cat outside your door looking at you all lovingly and you think, oh, poor little guy. But I had to make that decision because this cat is not mine. So skipping forwards 2 nights, and my friend said, look outside. And I looked outside, and there was the cat again, meowing outside my front door. I was personally in shock because I'd never known a cat to come back to my front door and start meowing for me. And of course, I fell in love even more. The next thing I did, I maybe shouldn't have done, but I brought it inside. I was personally scared for its health. It was eating food at a rate I had never seen a cat eat food before. This cat was hungry. It was also very thirsty. So what I did, I brought it in, I left the window wide open so it could easily leave my room, and I gave it food and I gave it water. Now if you do that, generally a cat will think, oh, here's where the food is, and it will keep coming back. So that night I ended up sitting with it for a while in my room, and then it left out the window. And in some ways, I was hoping it didn't come back, because I knew the more it came over, the more I fell in love with it. This is the most affectionate cat I have ever met. It would not leave me alone. This gave me more attention than Bo ever has. Bloody Bobo. So me and my flatmate decided, right, if it comes back the next night, we're going to keep it in the house and then we're going to take it to the vets in the morning. Now the reason we had to keep it in the house overnight was because if we let it back out again, I wouldn't see it for another entire day. It didn't come out during the daytime. So last night, lo and behold, there it was. I brought it in, and it ended up staying in my room. Didn't even look at the window once. It ended up curling up on my bed and falling asleep. Good God, how far back does your leg go? Wow, you're very stretchy. So I made it a litter tray and I got it some food and gave it some treats, and the cat was incredibly happy, purring constantly, to the point where when I went to bed, it actually curled up with me. Now for me that was incredibly hard because I knew that I'd probably have to let it go. So this morning I decided to take some video of it, and here that is. So Bobo, what do you think of our new house guest? No? Nothing? Yeah, thanks buddy. What do you think of Bobo? No? Wow. See, currently they're both sat in my room. Supposed to scroll over. It's a Bobo and a CeCe. There she is. They both hissed at each other for like 20 seconds and then stopped. I think they realised that they're not a threat to each other, because Bobo wouldn't hurt a fly, would you? Oh no. This cat was absolutely beautiful. We named it CeCe because we thought it was a girl, and I did try and call it Cinnamon, and then my friend was like, well, what about CeCe? So CeCe kind of stuck this entire few days, and I fell in love with this cat. So when it was in my room, it actually used the litter tray. Poop shot. Now, I did realise after this that it obviously had been house trained. This cat knew what it was doing. So the sooner we took it to the vets to get it microchipped, the better. So we woke up early this morning and we took it to the vets. I recommend everyone out there does that. If you find a cat outside that looks hungry or alone or lost, in most circumstances those cats need food, but of course they do recommend that you don't feed them. But if you live near a vet, it's probably a good idea to try and take it to a vet and say, hey, Has this got a microchip, and if so, can we get it back to the owner? There's nothing worse than a cat that's on its own, especially a Siamese. Now, Siamese, as I said at the start of the video, are rare and they are incredibly expensive, and people will just snatch them up. And I've heard horrible stories about people who have lost Siamese because they're worth money, and I didn't want the same thing to happen to this cat. So when we got to the vet, I ended up taking it in with my friend Maddie, and we got it microchipped, and they found an owner. Now, apparently, this cat had been missing for over 2 weeks. Turns out it was a boy, not a girl. CeCe, though, I'm staying with. And they took it off our hands, and the owner was called, and they're going to be giving me a call back later to say thank you, apparently. And they were really, really grateful. But I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty hard. It's amazing how you can attach yourself to a cat in the space of 3 days. And last night was one of the coolest and most interesting experiences I've ever had with a cat. This cat was the best cat ever. It sat on my desk and watched me play video games. It slept in the same bed. I mean, it's ridiculous. This cat was so cool. But I had to let CeCe go. And I feel glad that I did, but at the same time it's hard because I attached myself to it, and that is one of the problems of taking in a homeless cat. You get attached and then you find out they have an owner. So yeah, I adopted a cat for a day, and it was one of the most interesting and eye-opening experiences of my life. I really, really enjoyed my time with CeCe. I know that this probably isn't the kind of video you'd be expecting on the channel, but it's something that has kind of struck me a little bit, and I didn't really feel up to making a normal video today. Just blown away, really, by this whole experience, and needed to share it with you. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you liked the picture of her taking a poop. So I think the message at the end of this video is, if you find a cat in the wild who looks poorly or hungry, give it some food, give it some love, give it shelter if possible, but don't get too attached. Because I've learned the hard way that, yeah, I got attached really bloody easily. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, but until next time, that's me out. Bye, guys.